Have you ever had one of those days where you're running around non-stop, but at the end of it you feel like you got nothing done? Like you were busy all day, but somehow your house still looks like a tornado came through and your to-do list is even longer than when you started. I've been there. I am there most days. And if you've ever wondered if all of this work is even worth your time, you are not alone. Because homemaking can feel like this never-ending cycle of cleaning, cooking, and trying to keep up. And honestly, it can feel exhausting. But what if I told you that balance is possible? That homemaking doesn't have to feel like a constant game of catch-up. Today I'm going to share how I find balance as a homemaker and whether all of this is even worth my time. And I have a feeling some of what I'm going to say might completely change the way you see your role at home. So stick with me. You might just leave this video feeling lighter. Welcome to the English Rose Cottage. My name is Mia. I have 3 children and this is my journey in motherhood, finding beauty in the everyday tasks of being a mother and a homemaker. On this channel I share the highs and lows of motherhood, homemaking, some home decoration and some recipes. And I'm so glad you're here because this journey is meant to be shared with one another. So let's get into it. How do we actually find balance in homemaking? The reality of homemaking is so interesting to me because homemaking never really stops, and neither does being a mother. It's a 24/7 job. But with homemaking, you can finish cleaning the kitchen and within an hour, there'll be crumbs on the floor and dishes in the sink again and a juice spill that you didn't even see until you stepped in it. You can fold the laundry and by the time you've put that last sock away, someone's already changed clothes and started a new pile. Some days it feels like all you do is clean up messes that would just be made again. And it can feel frustrating because homemaking is invisible work. Most of the time, no one really notices what you do unless you don't do it. For a long time, I let this get to me. I felt like I was pouring my time and energy into something that didn't matter, that didn't make a difference. But I did realize something, and it's that homemaking isn't about having a perfect space or a perfect home, but it's about presence instead of that perfection. It's not about creating a house that looks like a Pinterest photo. It's about creating a home and a place that feels warm and welcoming and safe. And we can have interior design goals and things and still decorate our home well, which is what I really do love to do. But it's just not about that. It's way more than that. I just want to quickly chat first of all about something that really helps me, and that is getting dressed for the day. I know it's easy to stay in pajamas or throw on whatever's in the wardrobe, and some days that is absolutely fine. I have 3 children under 4, and if one of them is ill or anything like that, believe me, I'm in my pajamas. But I found that when I do take a few minutes to get dressed, nothing fancy, just something comfortable and put together, I feel more awake and more ready to take on the challenges of the day. It's not about impressing anyone, it's just about showing up for myself. And when I get dressed, I move through my day with more energy. I feel like I have a little bit more control, even when the house is chaotic. It's a small thing, but it makes a big difference. If you are a parent, you'll know how much energy little ones have, especially when you're trying to get things done at home. Lately, we've been loving a new way to keep our little one entertained while also helping them develop important skills. This is the Crido balance bike, and it has been an absolute favourite in our home. It's designed for toddlers aged 2 through 5, and I love how it develops their coordination and balance and confidence, all while they think they're just having fun. If you've watched any of my videos, you know how much my children love the bicycles. They are going around the kitchen and the dining room and outside constantly on a bike. One of my favourite things about this bike is how stable it is. The triangular design and wider wheelbase makes it so much safer. There's no tipping over and no wobbly rides. Plus it even has a front light, which makes it extra fun for little ones riding in the evening or on gloomy days, which is what we're experiencing a lot here in the UK. But it's also so easy to assemble, and the removable pedals means that you can use it as a balance bike or transition to pedaling whenever your child is ready. But the best part is that it's built with safe, BPA-free materials, so I know my child is using something durable and safe, which is just brilliant. And if you're looking for a fun way and a safe way to encourage independent movement and build your little one's confidence, the Credo Balance Bike is such a great choice. I do have a special discount code just for you if you use the code MIA, that's MIA, for 10% off orders over $50 at the link in my description. If your little one is always on the move like mine, I think that they will love this. Alright, back to our day, but this has definitely been a favourite in our home. Once I shifted my focus from trying to just get everything done to creating a home that feels good, it felt like my entire perspective changed. And I really like to start seeing the beauty in the everyday moments, the ones that we get lost in the shuffle of chores and the to-do lists. Here I'm just doing my morning wipe down of the bathroom. I like to try and wipe down the bathroom every single morning, well, at least the sink and the toilet, just to clear off any toothpaste residue or anything like that. But this is part of the Fly Lady routine that I really am enjoying. It has really fit into our lifestyle very well. So the Fly Lady calls this her daily swish and swipe, and it's an easy habit that keeps your bathroom really quite clean. And the idea is simple. It's that each morning after you use the bathroom, you take a few seconds to quickly swish the toilet with your brush and swipe the sink and the countertop with a cloth. And it doesn't need to be perfect, just a fast clean up to maintain order. And by doing this every day, you'll avoid the overwhelming task, and I don't enjoy this task, of a deep clean, and it keeps your space feeling fresh. And it really does work, and it only takes a few minutes, but it makes a big difference. So I encourage you to give that a try and make your bathroom a place that you enjoy being rather than want to run away from because it's so stinky. But back to those everyday small moments. You know, it's so beautiful to see little feet running down the hallway. I love seeing my children run around the house and enjoy themselves. And the laughter that we share, even over a simple bowl of porridge like I'm making this morning. Those breakfast moments can feel really precious to me. And just eating a simple meal and having some tea and reading the Bible and enjoying our time together on a slow morning is just wonderful, and it's such a beautiful moment. It's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying homeschooling so much, because our mornings can be so slow and there's no rushing necessary. But homemaking isn't just about maintaining a space, it's about nurturing those hearts within it and spending time with those inside the home, talking, dwelling, praying, doing all the things together. Yes, the messes will always be there, and the laundry will never truly be done, ever. And the dishes will always keep coming. But maybe that's not something to resent, or, you know, maybe it's a sign of life being lived in the home, which it is. And it's also about knowing that the work that we do matters, even if it isn't always noticed. It's about showing up day after day and creating an atmosphere of love, even when the house is a little messy. And when I think about it that way, I don't get so overwhelmed anymore, and I actually feel grateful, because a messy home is still a home. And a home filled with love and a happy mum, that's one of the most beautiful things because it sets the tone for everybody else. One of the biggest things that helped me find balance was creating intentional rest. And I've shared this in other videos, and I'll sort of keep harping on about it, to be honest, because it's just so vital. If you're at home 24/7 and you're a mum, your job is 24/7. And I used to believe that rest was something I could only have after everything was done. You know, the whole house is put away, the children are asleep, no one is making any noise, everything is perfect, and then I can sit down and rest. And so obviously, I never rested. And the truth is, as a full-time stay-at-home mum, the work never truly stops. There's always another meal to cook, or there's always another meal to plan if you're not thinking about the next meal to cook. There's already another spill to clean, another task waiting to be done. And because our work isn't confined to a schedule, there's no sort of start time and no clocking out in this season of my life anyway, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that I have to be on every single moment of the day. And when you have a baby who wakes up through the night like I do, we have a 4-month-old, the exhaustion builds even more. And there are no real breaks, no uninterrupted sleep to reset for the next day. It's a constant cycle of giving. And if you don't prioritize rest, it starts to feel impossible to keep up. Now, I have a 2 p.m. coffee break almost every day. I try so hard to have a coffee break. And no matter how messy the house is, no matter how much there is left to do, I really try and sit and breathe and take a moment for myself. And at first it kind of feels like lazy, especially if I'm just sitting amongst mess. But then I realized I'm a better homemaker and a mother when I take time to recharge. And because I'm constantly running on empty, I have no patience if I don't rest. You know, I'm quicker to snap at my children and I rush through the day and I don't actually enjoy my home. And we talk about the importance of rest for people with jobs outside the home, but what about mums who are full-time at home? Our job is totally 24/7 with no breaks built in. And if we don't make rest a priority, we will burn out. And here's the thing, rest isn't just for when you've reached the point of exhaustion. It's not just for when you're feeling overwhelmed or when you're about to break down. Rest is something we need to build into our daily routine before we get to that point. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't mean you have to take an entire afternoon or entire day off, although those are beautiful as well every now and again. But it can be as simple as sitting down with a cup of coffee, stepping outside for fresh air, or lying down for 10 minutes while the kids play nearby. And I try and do this as my baby is going down for a sleep. I calmly breastfeed in the bedroom and get him off to sleep. And sometimes it can feel like this, where I'm back and forth trying to settle him down. But other times I get to just sit there and feed and rest and take those 10 to 15 minutes of peace. And so it doesn't have to be complicated. But for so long, I did think that taking a break meant like I was failing, which is so silly, you know, that I wasn't working hard enough and that I should be using every spare moment to catch up on something. But I've learned that rest isn't a reward for getting everything done. It's a necessity to keep going. And when I started to see rest as part of my job, everything changed. I had more patience, more energy, and more joy in these little precious moments. So today I'm taking some time, I'm resting, I'm being with my children and enjoying them while the baby naps. And if you need this reminder today, hear me out. You are not a machine. You don't have to earn rest. You deserve it just as much as anyone else. Take the break, breathe. The work will still be there when you're ready, but you'll be able to handle it with more peace. Another shift I made is, instead of seeing my children as a distraction from homemaking, I have really started to try to bring them in. I think for a long time I used to think that if I could just get a little more time alone, I could get everything done faster. And obviously things might move quicker without little hands spilling flour or socks being folded the wrong way. But I realised that homemaking isn't just about efficiency. It's about connecting with our children and being around them and involving them and talking with them and just having that connection. And so if I'm cooking, I try to get them to help to stir. Or if I'm folding laundry, we can talk while we work. If I'm organising, they get some sort of a job too. And it's definitely not always perfect. Sometimes it's messier and makes the whole situation longer and maybe even a little bit worse sometimes. But when I do invite my children into homemaking, instead of trying to just work around them, something changes, especially in my mindset. Instead of feeling like I'm constantly torn between spending time with my children and getting things done, you can get to do both at the same time. And honestly, it does make it more fun. But the goal isn't just to run a household, it's to create a home, especially when you're home all day with your children. They need to feel like home is home. And one day my children won't remember whether or not the house was perfectly tidy. They won't remember if the laundry was folded just right or if the floors were always spotless. But they will remember standing on a stool and helping to stir the pancake batter on a Saturday morning. Or they will remember the fun they had while sorting socks, or they will remember feeling included and capable and part of something bigger than themselves. And those are the ones that matter the most. And so if homemaking feels overwhelming for you, if it feels like you're constantly juggling kids and housework and never quite doing enough, maybe the answer isn't finding more time alone. Maybe the answer is bringing them in and letting them be a part of it, and trying to find the joy in the little moments along the way, because that is what being at home is all about. For dinner tonight, I'm making this lovely beef stew. I'm going to put it in the slow cooker and let it go all day, but it's a mixture of kind of whatever vegetables you have in the fridge. I really like to use carrots and celery and onion and garlic and sort of the classic trio with beef, and I'm adding leeks and some tomatoes today as well. But it just sits all day with some Worcestershire sauce, some gravy and a few simple herbs, and it's absolutely delicious. And I also use tomato paste as well. But it is a classic and one I go to fairly regularly, especially when it's cold outside. But if you are feeling overwhelmed, I would encourage you to start small with something in your home today, because sometimes the hardest part is just knowing where to begin. When everything feels like too much, the best thing you can do is focus on just one simple thing at a time. And there are some habits that do change my days, and one of them is making your bed. And that's sort of the first win of the day. It sounds so simple, but this tiny habit sets the tone for the home. And number 2 is creating a reset routine. So a 10-minute tidy up every night after the children are down or just before the children go down to bed. I used to end the day exhausted looking at a messy house and feeling defeated, but now instead of trying to clean everything, I focus on a quick reset. And number 3 is to let go of perfection, because a slightly messy but happy home is absolutely a win. For the longest time, I thought a good homemaker had to have a spotless house every time someone walked into it, every single day, every single moment. But I've definitely learned that a lived-in home, a home where children feel free to play, where we can actually enjoy being together, is far more important. So, is homemaking worth your time? Yes, but only if it's more than just the chores. Because homemaking isn't just a checklist of tasks. It's about what those tasks create, and the meals you cook bring your family together, the laundry you fold gives comfort, and the floors you clean make space for kids to play and memories to be made. When I stopped treating homemaking like a never-ending to-do list and started seeing it as a way to care for my family, everything changed. And I didn't measure success by how much I got done, but how our home felt. And how my husband feels when he comes home from work. How does it feel at home? If homemaking feels overwhelming, I encourage you to shift your focus. It's not about creating a perfect home. It's about creating a home where your family feels safe and welcome and cared for. And that is always worth your time.